Hi everyone, this is Lena again from Beauty of Light, and I wanted to say just even before I start, hit like and subscribe to my channel. Um, so this video, I'm gonna go more into thinking patterns, and in this sense, it's gonna actually be about wasteful thinking and how you could actually get kind of or mindless thinking, mindless thoughts, and how you can get trapped and your thinking habits and patterns, and it'll actually stop you from moving forward. I have my cat Binks here. She's only about 6 months old now. So I wanted to start off with she's looking at the camera. I wanted to start off, with some thoughts that I had in reference to how sometimes people in the habits, the bad habits, thinking habits, how sometimes we could think that we're, making a decision by not making a decision. Or for instance, people think they're not making a decision when they avoid making a decision because they don't want to think about it. But in that process, they're making a decision or picking a side, right? And you hear this in reference to when it comes to debates, when there's more, when there's like one side or the other, right? It's only two options. But for instance, I was thinking the other day about how it can be like really detrimental when you're choosing to be lazy with your thoughts, right? And you're choosing not to think about things that actually matter in reference to your belief systems, your morals, how you're going to choose to live your life and things like that. Because most people don't really think about it. And the example I gave in the process when I was discussing this with my sister was, all right, you have your people. I'm going to use religion. You have your people that choose to follow a religion, right? And they're choosing to give up their freedom or their power in by accepting that their power or their choice of way of living is going to come from something, a blueprint that's already provided to them. That's what like religion is. You're choosing to give up your power to choose a lifestyle, a way of living by following the blueprint that's already provided, given by another, right? Doesn't matter whether you think it's from God or whether you think it's from a guru or some kind of prophet or whatever it is. It doesn't matter who it's coming from. It didn't come from you, okay? It didn't come from you putting it together and making it and creating your own path, right? So you gave up your freedom in that way. And then non-religious people, right? They're choosing not to have a religion because in their minds, I don't want to give up my freedom of someone else telling me what to do, right? And that's their whole mantra, right? Their whole motive for not being a religious person and not choosing a specific religion is because they want to be free in their mind. So the religious people are choosing to give up their freedom, and then the non-religious people are choosing to not give up their freedom in their way of thinking. But within those groups, you have the people who are actively, using their critical thinking and studying and gaining knowledge, and then you have the lazy ones, right? In both groups. So, in the religious group, your lazy religious people are, not studying their religion. They're doing the bare minimum. They're not studying people, the people around them, the people within their religious group, the people at their temple or at their church or whatever it is that they go to. They're not studying them. They're not studying their patterns, the behaviors, and things that need to change within themselves and things that they see. Right? That's the lazy group within the religion. And then you have the ones that are in the religion that are studying it and actually noticing behaviors and patterns of people within the religion and deciding whether this is appropriate. Does it go with the religion? Or are they following culture? Is this even correct? Should I be doing this? They're actively making decisions on how they're going to live their life because they're studying, because they're analyzing and using critical thinking. So, and then in your non religious group, you have the people who are not religious, but the lazy group, they, I'm not religious, but I don't make any choices. I don't make any decisions. I don't study anything. So I don't even have a blueprint that I follow. At least the religious people that are lazy, they'll, have the general blueprint that they may act like they follow with church, but that's a whole nother thing, or, with their religion. But they at least have something that they may adhere to sometimes. But with the non-religious people, a lot of times when they're lazy and they don't do any type of studying, any type of analyzing of those around them, of their culture, of their society, and get a better understanding of the moral standpoints and how things affect them and the people around them, they by default end up following a crowd and being conformist anyways, although they think that they're free and they're choosing freedom, right? Because they're thinking, oh, religion, you are a sheep and you're not thinking. A lot of times people think they're non-religious, but then they end up being a sheep and following a conformist group themselves because of the not choosing anything. Because when you don't study and you don't make an active or an informed decision, then you end up following a group. You end up following something, because a lot of times people think that there's only two norms, or one norm. A lot of times we have gone to the way of thinking of that the societal norm is to choose a religion, right? But in society, there are multiple norms. And within those multiple norms, you can choose to conform to any one of those multiple norms, right? Just like in right now, so many people are not in religion that it's a norm to not be any type of religious affiliation. It's normal. So you have developed a whole new category of people within that normal group that are non-religious, but they all do the same thing. They all act the same way. They all say the same kind of stuff. So it's the same kind of blueprint that you end up following out of the not making an informed decision. So, and then you have within the non-religious group of people that actually study, they make an informed decision on how they want to live their life. They evaluate the people around them and themselves, right? So you have your learned, educated people, whether religious or non-religious, and then you have your unlearned, lazy people who are religious or non-religious. And those are the lazy behavior patterns that I'm talking about, because the laziness of thinking is what causes people to be within their downfalls and their pits. And it's even worse when you actually think that you're on the right path, or you think that you're free, or you think you don't have to study anything because you know what you need to know. You know the basics of this, and that's all you need, and you don't actually think that you need to do any critical thinking. Because it's not always about, oh, I'm reading a ton of books. You can read books, but if you don't apply what you're reading, or if you have only a certain level of comprehension, it's not going to matter. Most things have to do with application, right? Because I've met plenty of people who don't really read books, but are intelligent as all heck. And it's because of them analyzing themselves and analyzing the people around them. If you get to understand people, and then you end up understanding yourself in the sense, right? Because we all are creatures of habit. We all kind of do the same things over and over again. I mean, in variations. It's going to vary from culture to culture, person to person, with individuality to a certain extent. But in general, we're all pretty much doing the same thing all the time, right? Over the thousands of years, people do the same kind of stuff. You hear the same kind of stories. It's just, a different setting. Same, different day, right? So it's the same thing. So it's not about like, oh, well, now I have to read a whole bunch of books just to get smart. No, it's about, mindful thinking. It's about meditative thinking. It's about self-awareness. It's about acknowledging things that happen within you, your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, acknowledging the feelings, emotions, and thoughts of other people, and then analyzing it, right? Because, like I said previously, that we're scientists. So it's about analyzing the results of a thought, an action, whatever it is. So once you analyze that, you determine what's appropriate, and there we go again with thought, thought, action, and then the result, and is it the desired result, right? So I just wanted to speak about that. Be careful of falling within the pits of I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. I know where I'm at, where I'm supposed to be. This is what it is. I am free right now, or this is the only way of living. Be careful of falling within that, because once you fall into those pits, it's harder to come out, because you have already convinced yourself that there's nothing else to learn. And once you convince yourself that there's nothing else to learn, it's pretty hard to move forward and to grow. Excuse me. So, I just wanted to talk about that. You know, there's really not too much else I wanted to discuss, but that was just another, just a little bit of something I wanted to give to plant the seed of understanding of how being a mindless person, you kind of just go through things. Oh, well, this is going, and this is the issue with conformity, going with the crowd, because someone who is analyzing themselves and analyzing others, you're not going to constantly be going with the crowd. You're not going to be constantly conforming, because you're going to be actively making decisions about certain things, right? And it's not about what someone else tells you. It's about you actually analyzing it, right? Because you're not going with other people's opinions, because that is a big issue with social media now, I feel like, is that you get snippets of someone's opinion and it sounds right, although you don't know the whole story. You don't know, the full conversation of what had taken place that led to that one statement. And people take it and run with it, and they think that's knowledge. Regurgitating a sentence, regurgitating one little piece of information or fact does not it's not equivalent to knowledge. Knowledge and wisdom is the actual process of analyzing multiple actions, multiple events, right? And coming to a conclusion to gain understanding about it, and knowing that it's okay if you don't come to a conclusion right away, and that sometimes it takes more time than what you would like, or what we have grown to like, because we're impatient people in these days, right? So that's what knowledge is about. Gaining knowledge is not about gaining just superficial intelligence, or what it appears to be it appears to be intelligence, but in all reality you could just be regurgitating and not really gaining understanding of something. So analyze, right? Analyze, which is critical thinking, because you can look at something on the surface, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that that's true meaning or the true understanding of it. And there's layers of truth. There isn't just, oh, well, this is the truth, this is what it is. No, there's layers to truth of everything, because everything has depth to it. So you take it one step deeper, and not to say you're gonna always gain. Just know that you're not always at the deepest. I won't even say always. You're never at the deepest point of understanding. You're never there, because it could always go deeper. And, you can always gain from. And I'm not talking about mundane things like, oh, why did I get this coffee today? Like, because you like it, right? It's not that serious. But I'm talking about things of really understanding the nature of people, the nature of energies, and things like that. It gets deep, because there are so many factors playing into something. This is the reason why it gets deep, right? It's because the multiple factors that affect something, because it's never just black and white. It's never just two things. There's always multiple factors. So And even with the coffee, and I'm saying that because I have a little coffee over there, but even with the coffee, there are multiple factors as to why I like my coffee this specific way, right? The lack of sweetness, or the maybe this particular brand of coffee is not that bitter, right? Or the type of machine that they made the coffee in, what's used to lighten the flavor or the aroma to sweeten it, such as I use almond milk and not regular milk. Some people use creamer, which is heavier. So all these different factors, right? All these different factors within an event will help you gain understanding. But this is why things are sometimes a lot deeper than the superficial knowledge that people feed off of. So that's just what I wanted to speak about in general, which is again about laziness, and that critical thinking and analyzing, which is what the reflective thinking is, meditative thinking. That's what that's about. We have to utilize that more, because as you utilize that, it allows you to develop the habit of thinking and understanding. Thinking about things, which causes understanding, which causes wisdom eventually, to avoid, avoid the lack of growth in life, because that's what it's about. So, once again, welcome to Beauty of Light. Please click like and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram under the same name of Beauty of Light. All right, thank you.